First thing, you just want to make sure the gun is empty, no magazine, no round in the chamber. All right, now you have it locked back. There's a little hole right there. You want to take your takedown tool, set it right in that hole like that. Gently let the slide release onto that pin. Now what you want to do, line that up with the end of this lever. Push on the back, push on that, lifts it right up, allows you to pull that right on out. Once that's out, the slide comes right off the front, flip it over, guide rod and recoil spring assembly. Flip the barrel lug down, lift up a bit, and it'll slide right out the front. There you have it, completely disassembled. I'm going to show you how to quickly disassemble, field strip a 1911 government model that has a barrel bushing on the front, as this one does. I'm going to use the Real Avid bench block, which has a built-in barrel bushing wrench right here, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to disassemble this. As always, we're starting with an unloaded gun, so let's get to it. So you just line up this bushing shape with the shapes here like that. So we just want to line it up, press down nice and flat, turn it 90 degrees, and you'll hear it click when it releases, and there you have it. Your spring is now released. Once that's released, you can easily slide that back, line up the notch, and then press on the back here to push up the slide stop enough so you can grab underneath of it, pull that out, set that aside, and now you can just slide the slide right off. And now that you have this slide removed, you can pull the spring off the front, pull that out that way, and now to get the barrel out, you're going to have to move this all the way around and then kind of push this out. Use the barrel to push it out. That comes out. Drop the link down. That will now pull out. As you can see, the barrel bushing has a notch right there that will line up, and it slides in this way. I'm going to slide in at one location there, just like that. So then that can turn back and forth. You'll want to put a little bit of lubricant on here to make that easy in and out. Okay, so once that's out, now your gun is field stripped for cleaning. 3 ways to remove the barrel bushing from a 1911. This is a government model, a Rock Island Armory 1911 A1, but most of your government 5-inch 1911s have this barrel bushing here. That's the first thing you need to do to release the recoil spring and to field strip this gun. So I just want to check that it's empty. So first thing you want to do is lock the slide in place. It's a little easier to work on that way. So to get this barrel bushing to turn, you have to press down on this recoil spring plug, which is there's spring pressure behind that, and it's pretty strong spring pressure. So the goal is to push that down and turn this at the same time. So if you have strong fingers and good fingernails, you can press this down with one finger and turn the bushing with the other, turn it 90 degrees, and then gently let up on this spring and remove it that way. And when you're putting it back together, same thing. If you got the strong fingers, push down, turn the barrel bushing until it lines up, and there you have it. Okay, next way to do it is a little easier. Just take your empty magazine and use that to press down. It's a lot easier. Then you can turn that barrel bushing like that, and again, carefully let it up. And the reverse, when you go to put it back together, just be very careful here that you don't let it fly up into your face. Turn the barrel bushing, all done. Another way is to just get a barrel bushing wrench. This is a Kimber wrench. You probably, with any new 1911, probably comes with one of these. But if not, they're less than 10 bucks. You can get them in aluminum or whatever. This is an easy way to do it too. Now, this barrel bushing has been lubricated last time it was put together, so it's easy to turn. Now, there could very well be some dirtier 1911s that weren't lubricated properly when they were put together, and this barrel bushing might be very hard to turn, so this is going to come in handy for that. So basically, you just use this to press down. This presses down on the recoil spring pin and allows you to turn it. You want to hold it down with two thumbs, two hands, because right now that spring is released. So you need to very slowly allow it to come up until the spring pressure is released. So that's how you use the bushing wrench. And you can do it in reverse as well. When you go to put it back together, I'm going to push this in part way, get this on it, using, I always use two hands because you want to keep that covered up in case it gets loose. Get your wrench on there, putting pressure downward, turn that till it snaps back in place. One other way to do it that I also like, I have a Real Avid Smart bench block here. It's about 15 bucks. It's got a built-in barrel bushing wrench right in the bottom. And what's nice about this is you're never going to point the gun or the spring at your face. But what I'm basically going to do, I'm going to line this barrel bushing, this curved part up with the curved part down here. I'm going to press it in and I'm going to turn it. So bring the gun down, line it up. I press down evenly on the gun and just twist it clockwise. I heard it click, so it came out, so I just lift up and the spring comes out. And to use the Real Avid bench block to reassemble, you would need to push this back in and just get the wrench to catch the edge of that. Again, carefully, you don't point this at your face. And once it's in that close, you just line your barrel bushing wrench up with the notches in the wrench, press down evenly, straighten it up, and you're good to go. Just to show you how the barrel bushing kind of works and how it comes out. It normally sits in the gun like that, and it's locked in there, and you turn it this way to get the spring out. And to get the barrel bushing all the way out, you need to rotate it counterclockwise as far as it goes, and there's a notch on the barrel bushing that lines up with the gap there now. So that's how it comes out, just like that. And to put it in, this notch lines up with this gap, slides in, and then rotates. and that's what keeps it in. So those are a few ways to remove the barrel bushing on your Government 1911. And if you like this video, please hit the like button below, please subscribe, and thanks for watching. Today we're going to disassemble, clean, lubricate, and reassemble a Rock Island Armory Armscore 1911 A1. First things first, we always remove the magazine, make sure the chamber is empty. First thing you want to do is put the safety on so that the slide doesn't move back and forth. So press down on the recoil spring plug and turn the barrel bushing clockwise. Slowly and carefully release the recoil spring. It'll come out that way. Now if you don't have strong enough fingers to press that down, you can use a barrel lug wrench. Press down evenly with both hands. Turn the bushing wrench clockwise about this far to gently release. So another way to remove the barrel bushing is to get a Real Avid smart bench block. It's got a built-in tool just for this purpose. Line up the bushing with this part right here, and you would do that like this. Press the gun down and then turn the gun clockwise, then gently release the gun upwards and the spring comes out. Now we want to take the safety off and we want to move this notch to line up with the top of your slide stop. So you slide it back right to there, and then press on this side of the slide stop lever. Bring it up like that, and you can pull that all the way out of the gun. Once that's out, you can slide everything right off the front of the frame. Now you can pull the spring off the front like that if you want. You could also move it out the back like that. Take your guide rod out. Okay, once that's done, now we need to remove the barrel bushing right here, and the way to do that is to now swing it all the way the other way and see if it'll pull off the front. Comes off the front like that. If it's tight or stuck, you can kind of push the barrel from the back here, and that'll help push that out. But this one wasn't stuck, so pull that out. And now, with this lug flipped down, the barrel will come right out the front of the slide. So now we can start cleaning. Now to clean the gun, I'm going to basically take each piece and I'm going to put some solvent on it. This isn't really solvent, this is a gun cleaning oil. It's a CLP. This is what I use for everything, original gun oil. It doesn't have a smell to it, and it's non-toxic, so I don't need to wear gloves. You can use this, or you can use something like Hoppy's number 9. It's a little bit stronger solvent. I have mine. I like to keep it in this dispenser to keep it from getting contaminated, and it's got a pump in it, so I just press down on the cotton swab and it brings up nice clean solvent to the top. So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of coating of original gun oil kind of all over every piece, and then come back and wipe everything down and wipe it off, and that'll clean it up pretty good. That you don't need a whole lot, a couple drops. I'm going to pull this off of here, get some gun oil on this. You can use gloves if you want. Like I said, this stuff is non-toxic. Sometimes I use gloves, but I just find it easier not to use gloves. Alright, I'm going to do here, I'm going to put a couple of drops in here, and I'm going to use a brush to just spread that around. You really want to get in the grooves where the slide rails run, right in these grooves here, all the way along both sides. You want to get back here, get the outside clean too, just get some of this all over it, and then you can come back and wipe it down with the cotton cotton rag, which is what we're going to do. Put a couple of drops on the rails here, down inside here where it gets pretty dirty. Don't want to get too much, just enough to kind of coat everything. A little on the slide stop lever, but on the outside of the barrel. What I love about this CLP, original gun oil, it's a CLP, cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. So not only are we cleaning everything, but we're going to leave the slightest residue of protectant on here to keep it from corroding. Now the next thing to do the inside of the barrel, this barrel is pretty dirty on the inside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a couple of drops right down the barrel. I'm going to take a cotton swab, just lightly run that in and out just to kind of spread that oil cleaner in there. Let it sit for a little bit. Okay, so now that everything's had a few minutes to sit, I'm going to start with the barrel. I'm going to wipe it down with, this is just cut up t-shirt. Just going to wipe this down, clean up, get all the dirt off of here. Alright, now to do the inside, I'm going to use a Hoppy's bore snake. This is the Viper version. It's a little bit better than the standard version, but it's got copper brushes built into it, and then all the rest of this fits nice and snug, and it's going to wipe the inside nice and clean. So you just drop the end in here, and you want to make sure you get the right size. This one's made for a 45 caliber barrel. Just going to pull it through. Now this barrel is on the dirty side, so I'm going to drop this through probably 2 or 3 times, but that's all you need to do. Alright, gotta look through here. Boy, that's looking pretty good. Barrel's done. Now I'm basically going to take each piece, do the small pieces, and just wipe them down. Wipe all that oil off of there. Barrel bushing, you want to get the inside of that. You could probably put a bore snake through there as well. Recoil spring plug. Get in here with some cotton swab. Just wipe down the recoil spring. Do the guide rod next. Put a cotton swab down in the middle of that. Now we want to take care of the slide. Now there's a lot of nooks and crannies in the slide, so I'm going to show you a little trick you can use. You can use cotton swabs. Of course, these have a pointy end and a not pointy end. These are really nice cotton swabs. These do a real nice job of getting in this groove. It's very important to get that clean. Get that groove all the way up and down. Another way you can get in all these little slots right here is to loosely throw the cloth over there and then use your brush, a nice semi-stiff brush, and kind of use that to push the rag into all the little tight spaces. Does a pretty good job. Kind of push it in there. Move it around like that. This is the breech face right here. You're going to want to make sure that is clean, and especially under the extractor lip there, right underneath that hook right here. You want to make sure that's clean under there. Just take some time and make sure you get all the nooks and crannies clean. Make sure you get back here where the firing pin is. Alright, all nice and clean and dry. Let's move on to the frame. Alright, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to wipe this down real good. Get in the notches. Push this down in there. Make sure I get all the surfaces. Boy, that's pretty dirty in there. Look at all that. real good. This is the ramp where your rounds slide up into the chamber, so you want to make sure that's nice and clean. I like to push the cloth all the way through just to kind of clean all in there. Okay, now we're going to lubricate and reassemble the Rock Island 1911. Okay, I'm going to use original gun oil, which I use for all my guns. There's a link down below in the description with a 10% coupon if you want to use this. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of lube in a couple of places. We'll start with a guide rod. 1 drop on here, going to smear that around. I'm going to put 1 drop on the slide stop lever pin. Just a coating on there. Barrel lug. It's very important to have some lube on this so the next time you go to take it apart, it will come apart. But again, just 1 drop and just kind of smear that. You don't really need to lube this, to just kind of smear some on there, just to, it'll help corrosion, things like that. We want to get a coating on this barrel, so maybe 1. You just want to get a coating. You want 1 little tiny drop where this link connects so that stays loose, and you don't need much at all. On the slide, we're going to put 1 drop here, 1 drop in each of the slide cuts on either side. Just take a brush and kind of make sure that drop gets run along the entire length, and this is just a little right there like that. And we're going to go to the frame, 1 drop on each rail, smooth that around, 1 drop, again small drop, and if you get too much on there, just take it off. You don't need too much. Might want to put a drop here on this pin right there, just a little tiny bit. Alright, to put the Rock Island Armory 1911 back together, first take the slide, take the barrel lug down, that all the way in. Alright, now you get your barrel bushing. There's a notch, and that's going to line up with this gap here. Push that in, and then the barrel bushing over like that. Okay, so next we want to take the closed end of the spring. This is the open end. This is closed end. Slide it onto the guide rod. Put that in. Put it in like this. Make sure it's seated that way. With this link, you're going to kind of hold it together a little bit like this. Make sure this link is sitting just like that. Then you want to slide the frame on. Now you want to line this hole up with this hole, and you'll see this pass through if you look through. So very slowly and carefully slide that on there. If you look through the hole, you'll see it pass by. Let's see that again. Okay, there it passed by. It went too far. Back up. When that's lined up, take your slide stop pin and just drop that in there. Alright, don't want to do anything yet, because now we want to move this notch right over this square hole here. Make sure that notch is lined up just like that. Then you want to take this, place it on here, lined up with that notch like that. Press 1 thumb down on it. You want to kind of press it against that pin. So 1 thumb there, 1 thumb here, and then press it in. Went all the way in there. Alright. And then you want to close the slide till the safety latches. Alright. Now, put the recoil spring plug on the end. Be very careful, wear eye protection. When you press this in, you want to press that in. You don't want it to fly out because there's a lot of pressure now. Press that down, turn the lug until it catches the edge of it. So you've got the edge of it, and then now you can press it down further and move that lug all the way back like that. And if you need to, you can use your wrench to make that easier to do. Alright, and now that that's together, take your safety off, move your slide all the way back, lock it in place, everything looks good. And what I would do is work the slide a few times to get that oil worked in there. Then get yourself a rag. Spend a couple of minutes wiping down the outside of the gun. Make it look nice and spiffy. All right, now we're all done. Next thing you want to do is there's a link down in the description for a function and safety check for a 1911. So you want to run through that real quick to make sure everything's working. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. All the things I used here will be in the links will be in the description below, and please subscribe. Thanks again. Around. Okay, this will be a 1911 function and safety check. Anytime you take your 1911 apart for cleaning or for any other reason and put it back together again, it's a good idea to do a quick function safety check. Make sure everything is working as it should and all the safeties are operating properly. So the first thing, we're going to verify that this is empty. It is completely unloaded. So the first thing we want to do is we want to insert an empty magazine. Make sure that it stays securely in the gun. Rack the slide, and the magazine should lock the slide to the rear. Then make sure that the magazine release properly releases the magazine and the magazine drops out of the gun easily. Next, we're going to do the hammer and trigger reset test. So verify one more time, because you're going to pull the trigger. Verify that the gun is unloaded. Move the slide to the rear. Safety off. Pointing the gun in a safe direction. Press the trigger. Hammer should fall forward. Keep pressing the trigger. Rack the slide. Hammer should stay to the rear. Slowly release the trigger until you hear the reset. And then press it again, pointing the gun in a safe direction. Rack the slide. The hammer should stay in the fully cocked position. Next, we are going to check the thumb safety and the grip safety. So, once again, verifying that the gun is unloaded. Okay, with the safety on, proper grip on the gun, pointed in a safe direction, attempt to press the trigger. It should not press and the hammer should not fall. Take the safety off, point it in a safe direction. Hammer should fall when you press the trigger. Okay. Rack the slide to reset the action. Now we're going to check the grip safety. Thumb safety off. Without pressing the grip safety, gun pointed in a safe direction, attempt to press the trigger. It should not press. Now get a correct firing grip on the gun, point it in a safe direction, press the trigger, the hammer should fall. Next, we're going to check the out of battery test. So with the correct firing grip on the gun, hammer cocked, safety off, very slightly move the slide out of battery, just a little bit. Point it in a safe direction and attempt to press the trigger. It should not press and the hammer should not fall. Allow the gun back into battery, point it in a safe direction, press the trigger, hammer should fall. The final check that I like to do is to check the extraction and ejection of the gun using dummy rounds. So what we have here are completely inert dummy rounds. I've got a magazine full of them. We're not going to be pressing the trigger here, but what we're going to do is load the gun, with a magazine full of dummy rounds, and all we're going to do is I'm going to rack the slide, simulating firing the gun. And to make sure, I'm going to do it this way so you can see. So every time I rack the slide, a round should be ejected out of the gun, and when all the rounds are gone, the slide should stay back. So it's simply looks like this. All the rounds were ejected. Your gun is now ready to go to the range. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe or hit the like button down below. Today I'm going to use Birchwood Casey gun scrubber to clean my Kimber 1911. This is an Aegis Elite custom 5-inch barrel with the traditional 1911 barrel lug on the front. It has been verified unloaded. I'm going to field strip, disassemble, clean all the parts with Birchwood Casey gun scrubber. Then we're going to lubricate it per the Kimber user manual, and then we're going to reassemble. Okay, so what we're going to use Birchwood Casey gun scrubber to clean this gun. It's a high pressure aerosol spray, and it does a really good job, especially getting down into all the nooks and crannies, especially on a 1911. We're going to use a gun brush. We're going to use some cotton swabs to get into the tight spaces. We're going to clean the barrel with a bore snake instead of the traditional rod and patches. I'll show you how I do that. And then we're going to lubricate per the Kimber user manual with original gun oil. First thing we need to do is field strip or disassemble the 1911. There's a couple of ways to do this. Number one, you want to have some eye protection on, because this is spring loaded and we're going to be releasing this spring. And when we do that, if you do it wrong and you're pointing it at your face, it's going to fly up and it's going to hit you right in the eye. So there's a couple different ways to do that. One way is to just get a hard object, such as a empty magazine, and just use this to press the recoil spring down. And then you can turn the barrel bushing with your finger. Now you got to be careful to let up easy because there's a spring, and release the spring that way. Another way is to get a barrel bushing wrench, which may have come with your Kimber. If not, there's links down in the description on where you can get one. So this works by just putting this in place, pressing down smoothly, and turning the barrel bushing 90 degrees, and very carefully keeping your thumb over the spring-loaded part. Release the pressure that way. Okay, I'm going to show you from a different angle how that works. The barrel bushing is going to actually press the recoil spring down like that, nice and flush. Turn it 90 degrees, and then let the spring up like that. So a third way is if you have a special tool like a Real Avid bench block. This one comes with a built-in 1911 barrel bushing wrench right here. So the way you do this, you put this down on the bench. You want to line up this barrel bushing with the shape right here. So you would press it in here, nice and flush, turn the gun, and then release up on the gun, and it comes right out. So that's another. Once that is off and the spring is released, now your slide is going to move back and forth. So line up this half moon notch right over top of the slide stop lever. And once that's lined up, turn it over. You can press this here, just press that in with your finger, and that lifts it up on the other side a little bit, so you can pull this right out. Once that comes out, you can just take the slide right off the top. Now that you have the slide off, you can pull the spring out of the front, off of the guide rod, and now you can pull the guide rod just right out the back, like this. Now you're not going to be able to get the barrel out until you get this lug all the way out. So a couple ways from here. If it's loose enough, you can just go all the way the other way. You want to kind of push it out. Use the barrel to push it out. It comes out this way. And if that's too hard, then you can use your lug wrench again and turn that as far as it goes clockwise. And when it's there, it'll come out. You might have to work at it if it's not lubed. You'll see when we put it back together, we're going to lube that up, so that's easy to get out next time if it's not this time. If it's a tight fit, you know, you're going to have to work at it, but you can push with the barrel. Push from back here and it'll help push that out. So once that comes out, make sure this lug isn't up, make sure it's down, and then this will come right out this way. So now we can start cleaning, and we're going to clean all these with the gun scrubber, but it is messy, so a couple of things. You might want to put on a rubber glove or two if you don't want to get the stuff on your hands. And we want to do it over a trash can so that all the runoff and dirt goes right into the trash can. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to spray down the slide. Now, I have heard that these sites can be damaged, and certain sites can be damaged by certain chemicals. So I want to make sure I don't spray any gun scrubber on these sites. So please be very careful if you have expensive sites. So what we want to do, you want to spray down, you want to get all in here, you want to get in the rails, you want to get in this area here and all down in here to get all that crud out of there. Got it pretty good. I did get some gun scrubber on the sights, and I'm gonna get that off of there as quick as I can. Gun scrubber will evaporate, but it leaves a slight residue, so that's why you are gonna have to wipe everything down, but it's gonna take all that dirt right off of there. And I'm gonna wipe down this entire slide really well, and any of the spots where I see some dirt laying in there and I can't get to, I'm going to use one of my cotton swabs, get right in these slots here. That gun scrubber really took a lot of the dirt away already. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to wipe down every part of this slide. I'm going to wipe the outside with a cotton rag and get this really clean. Any place where you have knurling like this and you can't quite get in the bottom, just get your gun brush. You can use a toothbrush and just get in there. Cleans that all out. Get in between the sights. And that's coming up. Got that real nice and clean. Looks real clean everywhere. All right, let's move on to the barrel. Just gonna spray this down. Get it down, nice good bit on the inside. All right, what I like to do while it's still wet is I'm gonna drop my bore snake through here. And the bore snake has copper brushes built in. Make sure you get the bore snake for a 45 or whatever your caliber gun you're cleaning. And it's going to do a real nice job. It's kind of hard to pull through, which is why it does such a nice job. It scours the inside real nice. I'll typically drop that through 2 or 3 times. All right, we're in good shape here. Just gonna wipe the outside with a cloth. Same thing with all the other parts. A lot, you just spray that quick and wipe it down quick. You're gonna want to get your barrel lug nice and clean. Clean that off. That's all gonna evaporate. Take off any old lube. slide stop pin. Give the spring a quick clean. Spring doesn't get all that dirty. All right, and now we're going to get to the frame. Now on the frame, depending on what kind of grips you have, this is, as I said, this is synthetic safe. This is safe to use on all kinds of materials, at least it says it is. It hasn't harmed any of mine so far. These are G10 grips I have on here, so I'm pretty sure they're going to be fine. So if you have any kind of real like rubber grips or something, you might want to just take them off. You can just take them off with the wrench, and then you don't have to worry about it, and the rest of everything in here is metal. So you can just pretty much spray at will on the frame. You want to get down in here, get any crud down inside. Man, this is going to be one clean gun. Now on the feed ramp, right here, if just a spray, the pressure of the spray doesn't do it, just get a cotton swab and help that along. Wipe it down with your cloth rag. You can let it sit, let everything evaporate, and then wipe it down. You're still going to want to wipe it down because it does leave a little bit of a residue. Got a little bit of dirt in the stippling here. Beautiful. Nice and clean. Ready to lube it up and put it back together. All right, now we're going to lubricate the 1911 with original gun oil. This is non-scented and non-staining and non-toxic, so I'm not going to use any gloves. Not worried about that. Also, you can use this in the house and it doesn't stink the place up, which is really nice. So first thing we're going to lube is the barrel. So we want to get a drop on the barrel hood, just one drop on the lugs right here, one drop on the barrel link, and a couple drops on the outside of the barrel. Now that seems like a lot. It kind of is. It's actually less than the Kimber manual calls for, but I'm gonna just kind of smear this around, pretty much making sure everything's got a little coating of lube. I'm just gonna lightly wipe it off so we don't have too much. Next, we're going to lube the slide. Do one drop, two drops total, one drop on each end kind of. Just kind of smear that around. That's going to work its way in after we reassemble. Do the other side, one drop up front, one drop in the back. You can wipe a little of that off too. We don't need it coming out of that area. You don't want too much oozing around the gun. We're going to put a little drop on this surface here. This surface rubs up against the hammer and kind of cocks the hammer, so we want that to be smooth as well. And then right down in the bottom, this is where the barrel lugs lock into the bottom whenever the slide cycles. So you want them to be able to go in and out. Again, smear that around a little. You don't need to have a puddle of it. Just a little bit in there. Keep it nice and slick. Okay, not a lot on the frame, but we do want to put one drop on the disconnector here. Whoops. One drop on the disconnector. And I would just wipe off any excess. One drop down in the hammer, where the hammer pivots there. Just one drop. That's going to work its way in pretty well. All right, that's good for that. The guide rod, just put one drop on that. Smear that around, wipe it off. Now this barrel bushing, very important if you want to get it out easily. next time around, you want to make sure you get a nice, just a coating of oil around the outside of that barrel bushing. And your slide stop pin, just one small drop on there to keep that easy to get out next time as well. So that's pretty much it for lubrication. Now we're going to put it back together. Reassembly starts at the slide upside down, barrel link that way, slide it all the way in, take your barrel bushing. It's got this little raised area right here, okay, and that's going to line up with the gap in the frame, so it pushes right in, then it goes flush, and then you can turn this all the way over like that. All right, next thing is guide rod. Slide in from this side, set it down, make sure it's in this orientation. Now the spring, you have a closed end and then a more open end. So you want the closed end. The closed end slides over the guide rod. Press that all the way in as far as it's going to go. It'll seat nicely on there like that. Okay, once you have everything in place like this, you're going to kind of hold the gun together. Make this sure this barrel link is hanging down. Hold it just like that. Slide it on. All right, now you'll see the barrel link go by. There it is. All right, now we're lined up with the hole. And that's all perfectly lined up. This and just drop it in there. Holds everything in place. And continue to move this until that little notch there is lined up with this square hole right here. See the little notch in the slide right there? And then bring this up, set it right on top like this. Put pressure with one finger here, pressure with one finger here, and just push it straight in, just like that. All right, and at this point, you can close the slide as far as it goes, lock it into position, because now we're going to bring this back down. And you can use your barrel wrench, and be careful again, this is going to be under pressure and it might go launching, so use your eye protection. Sometimes what I just do is press it down with my finger, turn the link, and it has caught the edge of it right there. And then I can use my fingers, push it down all the way, turn this until it locks in place. There we have it, the gun is back together. So now you can take the slide off, rack the slide back and forth a bunch of times to work that oil in and make sure everything feels right. Verify that it's empty again, and then put it in the safe direction. Test your trigger. All right. Everything seems to be working, and now get a clean, dry rag and just do a final wipe down. A beautiful 1911, nice and clean and ready to go to the range. If you like this video, I've got plenty of other ones. Please subscribe, and I'm making new videos all the time. Today we're going to lubricate a Rock Island Armory Arms Core 1911 A1. We're going to lubricate the Rock Island 1911. Okay, I'm going to use original gun oil, which I use for all my guns. There's a link down below in the description with a 10% coupon if you want to use this. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of lube in a couple of places. We'll start with a guide rod. Just going to put one drop on here. Doesn't need to be much. For this, just going to smear that around. I put one drop on the slide stop lever pin that goes into the gun. Just a coating on there. barrel lug. It's very important to have some lube on this so the next time you go to take it apart, it will come apart. But again, just one drop, and just kind of smear that around. Alright, don't really need to lube this, to just kind of smear some on there, just to, it'll help corrosion, things like that. We want to get a coating on this barrel, so maybe one, maybe 2 drops. There's kind of small drops there, but you just want to get a coating. You want one little tiny drop where this link connects, so that stays loose. And you don't need much at all. On the slide, we're going to put 1 drop here, 1 drop in each of the slide cuts on either side. And what I like to do with that is just take a brush and kind of make sure that drop gets run along the entire length. And this is just a little right there like that. Alright, and we're going to go to the frame. Similar thing on the frame, 1 drop on each rail. Maybe smooth that around. Drop on each rail. 1 drop. Again, small drop. And if you get too much on there, just take it off. You don't need too much. Too much oil attracts dirt. Might want to put a drop here on this pin. Right there, just a little tiny bit. Today we're going to reassemble a Rock Island Armory Arms Core 1911 A1. Alright, to put the Rock Island Armory 1911 back together, first take the slide, take the barrel lug down, that all the way in. Alright, now you get your barrel bushing. There's a notch on the bushing, and that's going to line up with this gap here. You want to put it in this way, push that in, and then move the barrel bushing over like that. Okay, so next we want to take the closed end of the spring. This is the open end, this is closed end, and just slide it onto the guide rod all the way down. Put that in like this. Put it in like this. Make sure it's seated that way. Goes in just like that. Alright. With this link, you're going to kind of hold it together a little bit like this. Make sure this link is sitting just like that. Then you want to slide the frame on. Now you want to line this hole up with this hole, and you'll see this pass through if you look through. So very slowly and carefully slide that on there. If you look through the hole, you'll see it pass by. Let's see that again. Okay, there it passed by. It went too far. Back up. When that's lined up, take your slide stop pin and just drop that in there. Alright, don't want to do anything yet, because now we want to move this notch right over this square hole here. Make sure that notch is lined up just like that. Then you want to take this, place it on here, lined up with that notch like that. Press 1 thumb down on it. You want to kind of press it against that pin. So 1 thumb there, 1 thumb here, and then press it in. Went all the way in there. Alright. And then you want to close the slide till the safety latches. Alright. Now, put the recoil spring plug on the end. Be very careful, wear eye protection when you press this in. I'm going to press that in. You don't want that to fly out because there's a lot of pressure now. Press that down, turn the lug until it catches the edge of it. So you've caught the edge of it, and then now you can press it down further and move that lug all the way back like that. And if you need to, you can use your wrench to make that easier to do. Alright, and now that that's together, take your safety off, move your slide all the way back, lock it in place. Everything looks good. And what I would do is work the slide a few times to get that oil worked in there. Then get yourself a rag. Spend a couple of minutes wiping down the outside of the gun. Alright, now we're all done. Next thing you want to do is there's a link down in the description for a function and safety check for a 1911. So you want to run through that real quick to make sure everything's working. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. All the things I used here will be in the links will be in the description below. And please subscribe. Thanks again. So I'm going to show you how to replace the recoil spring in a Kimber Pro Carry 2, which is a 4-inch 1911. Does not have the barrel bushing on this model. Most of the 4-inch Pro Series Kimbers have this type of a bull barrel. So you're going to need the Kimber takedown tool, the firearm, unloaded, of course. We have an unloaded firearm. It's the most important thing. I have a recoil spring here from Wolf gun spring makers for Kimber compact and Pro Carry 4-inch pistols, 45 ACP. It also contains a firing pin spring, which we're not going to use. So I'm just going to get the recoil spring out of here. Kimber recommends replacing the recoil spring every 800 rounds in this particular gun. So I know I have at least 800 rounds through this firearm. I've taken it to training a few times. Okay, so as you can see, there are two ends. There's a closed end and an open end. The open end always goes toward the muzzle when you get it in there. This end is always toward the back of the gun or seated on the guide rod. The first thing we have to do, of course, is field strip. And on this type of Kimber, you lock the slide back, and then you will see the hole there for this tool. Just set it right in there, and that's just gonna, you let the slide forward, it traps that recoil spring under tension. So now you can slide it forward, line it up with that slot there, press on the back, pushes this right on out. And at this point, you can just slide the slide right off the front of the gun. All right, now, so this is what we have at this point. You want to take the captive guide rod out. Now that spring is captive in there under pressure. I'm going to show you how to get that out. You want to remove the barrel from the slide, because we're going to make use of the slide for this procedure. So to get this spring out from under tension, what we're going to do, we're going to put this back in the gun without the barrel in there, because the barrel gets in the way. Going to press this into the gun. It's going to hold the big lug. So what you want to do now, hold this, you want to compress the spring so your tool falls out, and then very slowly, it's under pressure now, very carefully release that tension all the way back. All right, and now just pull that, leave that piece in the top of the, leave that piece in there. So now we just have the guide rod and the spring. Remove that. Looks like I installed this last one backwards. So this one I'm going to install correctly. Should be a little bit of a tight fit there. Going that way. Now just repeat the process. Put that in there like that. Now this is a little bit tough. You want to make sure that the guide rod, or I'm sorry, the takedown pin comes in from the top. And there's a reason for that. You don't want to put it in this way. You want to put it in this way. And you'll see why later. So very carefully, push that up till you see the hole. Press it in there. Release it. Now you have it under pressure again. Okay, here's another way to capture the recoil spring if you don't have any help. So make sure this is set in with a little groove facing down like that. Hold it in place, set it up against an edge like that. Get the pin ready. Now you want to press in this direction so it doesn't pop off of there and go flying across the room. Press that down till you see the hole. Put that in the hole and gently release pressure. And there you have it. You're done. Got it captured again. And now it looks just like it did earlier with the new spring on there. All right, after placing the barrel and the guide rod assembly on top, you want to grab it and hold this in place. You want to make sure that this lug stays just like that. You don't want it over here. You want it to stay like that because you're going to line it up with this hole. All right, so slide it in there like that. Very slowly. Look through the hole till you see that. You see right through there. And then you put this guy in there. Now you just want to keep going back until this notch lines up with this hole. Doesn't always want to go. Okay, there we go. Sometimes you got to fiddle things around a little bit until that sucker. Had a little trouble getting it there, but I got it there. You just got to fiddle with it a little bit. Line that up right in the hole. Put that on top. This is a spring-loaded pin right here. So you have to kind of push past this. So you want to line this up kind of with two hands and just press it right into place. Now keep going back until you can lock the slide. Remove the pin. As I said before, if you didn't put this pin in the right way, if you put it in this way, it would be stuck in there and you wouldn't be able to get it out. Then you'd have to take everything apart again, take this pin out and put it in the other side. You'll see if you make that mistake, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Put it out. We're all done. Okay, today I'm going to disassemble a couple of my Wilson Combat 1911 magazines. These are 8-round magazines, and we're going to clean them up. What I'm going to show you is what you're going to need to do this. You don't need much. You need some kind of a punch to get the bottom base plate off. You can probably use a small screwdriver for that. You'll need a brush. And I'll show you what that's for. That's for cleaning the inside of the tube. You need some kind of a cleaner. I like to use Original Gun Oil. It's non-toxic. I can use it in the house. It doesn't smell. It's non-scented. It also supports veterans. It's a lubricant and a cleaner, CLP, cleaner lubricant protectant. And I like to have a long screwdriver. Sometimes when you're putting the follower back in, it can get stuck, and it's just nice to have a long screwdriver to help get that in place. All right, I got two types of Wilson Combat magazines here. This one they just have slightly different base plates. They're both 8-round magazines. This one has a narrower base plate. They both come apart the same way. There's a little hole in the bottom, and there's a little nipple in there that you need to press down on. So I'm going to press down on that, and I'm going to push the base plate this way. Just real simple, you just push down. Once you start pushing it, you can take the punch out. You want to use safety goggles for this because there is a spring involved. You don't want things shooting out and hitting you in the face. And I like to keep my thumb over the top here just in case something's not sitting right and it comes popping out. So now you're going to have this other little metal plate here, and this is going to also slide off the top. That aside now. Now here's your magazine spring. You just kind of got to release that, comes popping out, and just work this out. You don't want to stretch this in any way or twist it in any way. You want to keep that from getting damaged. It's not terribly fragile, but so now we want to get the follower. It's just kind of sitting in there, but it is kind of a tight fit. So you want to bring it out the top here. So kind of press down on the back of it. Just kind of get it to come out the front here. Okay, like that. Now you see how these are pretty dirty. I haven't cleaned these in a while. So we're going to get to the cleaning part and get these all cleaned up. For the cleaning, I'm just going to take a little bit of this oil. We don't really want to lube this per se, but I'm going to use, I always use my finger. The stuff's non-toxic. It's not going to do anything except get me dirty. But I do like to wipe, get it nice and clean. Just clean it up with a little bit of this oil. I'm going to get all the dirt off of there. Get that cleaned up. Base plates don't get too messy, but another drop of this. This stuff's not going to hurt any synthetics. This is really good oil. It doesn't hurt anything. Pretty safe stuff. And yeah, it does a good job with lubrication. I use it on my guns too. Okay, I'm going to just clean that. This piece looks pretty clean. Might as well clean everything while we're here. The spring, we want to just wipe that off. Good. Now to get the inside of the tube, a lot of ways to do that. You could just kind of feed your rag through there and pull it through and clean it. I'm going to put a little drop of, just one drop on there. And I'm going to kind of just use the brush to clean the inside of this. Get that all nice and cleaned up. It'll leave a little residue of that oil on there, which is not a bad thing. Keep the inside of the magazine nice and smooth. All right, now just for good measure, I'm going to just kind of wedge this rag through there, just to kind of get any of the dirt out of there. This wasn't terribly dirty, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So we're just going to put it back together. It's kind of obvious the way it goes, but let's make sure that this is going to go this way. This kind of sits in here, and you want that to kind of sit in there flat. You don't want to push it too much because it is just plastic. Kind of want it to end up sitting more or less like that, like it should. Now this is important. On these springs, this is the front. This sits in here this way, kind of like that. So that kind of, this will line up with the angle of the follower. So just kind of work it in like this. Work it back and forth. It's going to start to get some tension. So just don't point it at your face, and wear some goggles. Safety goggles always when working on guns. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to get it to stay in like that. I would still keep your thumb over there. Now this piece, make sure the nipple is up. Kind of have to press down a little, get it under these lips and slide it in. So it looks just like that. Base plate. You got your notches here. We're going to line them up like that. Just press down a little till they line up. Now you can use your finger, just press down a little bit on the metal plate, enough to get this past it. And then once you slide it in, it should pop back into place. And there we have it. You now have a clean 1911 magazine. I put a link in the description below of all the things I used here, just in case you don't have these items. And a rag. I just cut up a t-shirt for that. All right, and I recommend for any 1911 Wilson Combat magazines, these are the best. I don't use the manufacturer's magazines anymore. Had too many problems with those, and these tend to work flawlessly. Even dirty, they were working well, but I'm gonna clean them. I got about 6 of these. I'm gonna clean them all right now. All right, so please subscribe, and thanks for watching. How to reassemble a Kimber Pro Carry 2 1911. This type of 1911 has the bull barrel. It does not have the barrel bushing in the front. So first, you take the slide, take your barrel, put the barrel link down, slide it in all the way as far as it goes, and let it kind of lock down into place like that. Flip the barrel link back up. Take your recoil spring and guide rod assembly, which has been captured by the pin. Slide it in there. You want that curved part at the bottom to be sitting right on the barrel, right up against the link. Bring that link up like that. Okay, now you need to kind of hold everything together with your thumb over here. Make that link stick down just like that. Now you want to take your slide and line it up with the frame. You want to slide it onto the frame. Now the goal here is to line up this link hole with these holes right here. So you want to slide it through. You want to watch through this hole to see them line up. Okay, see there's the back of the link, and there's the link right through there. Okay, you see it go by. Okay, now that's the link. Now they're lined up. Take your slide stop pin, put it right through there, and that's going to hold things together. Now you want to continue moving the slide backward on the frame until this notch lines up to the middle of this square hole here. Just like that. Alright, now this pin retracts. It's a spring-loaded pin. So that's going to move out of the way when you press this in. So this, swing this up, pull it out a little like this, swing it up and rest it right on that retracting pin. Line everything up so that curved notch matches up with the curve of the top of that. Press down there and press here. It'll be sitting right on top of that detent right there. Line it up and then press evenly with both thumbs, and it'll pop right back in. You want to be careful here. If you go in and this moves up, you might scratch your slide a little bit. So you want to be careful that you press everything nice and even. Take your time doing that. Once that's in, push the slide all the way back. You're going to feel spring pressure. Move the slide stop in to engage it. So now the slide is all the way back, and this has been released, so you can pull the pin out of the hole. Alright, and now you're ready to close the slide. Make sure everything feels right. And now you're going to want to go through the function and safety check. I'll link to a video at the top here and in the description below, so you can make sure everything is working properly. Alright, if you like this video, please hit like below, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.